Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Stormy, Buonantony, and Jonathan Von Tobel in for the guys as we welcome you back to Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, Channel 158. Heavy college football day for the program. SEC Media Days are rolling on from Atlanta. We have Mountain West Conference Media Days that are being hosted here at Circa. So in addition to just like talking about some of our thoughts about the league, we have had the good pleasure of having UNLV head coach Dan Mullen on live with us. Same with Spencer Danielson, head coach of the Boise State Broncos, coming up in 15 minutes. Bronco Mendenhall of Utah State is going to stop by as well. And we continue our Follow the Money moves, top 25 rankings.
We've been in contact. I'm going to get this photo.
Okay. He's, for anyone who missed it earlier, he's I'm going to call it a tizzy. JVT's in a little bit of a tizzy for a photo that we took with Dan Mullen.
I'm going to be proven right.
Very uncomfortable.
I'm willing to look like such a goober when this picture, I look terrible. I know it's going to be terrible.
I think just like Shane Gillis made the ESPYs more awkward with his delivery, you made the moment more awkward with your facial expression.
What am I supposed to do?
Just smile like a normal person.
Am I supposed to just flip I did. But I'm just saying, like, I'm standing like this because you guys are both just crushing me.
I didn't realize I was so strong. My biceps are huge.
I'm not going to lie. That was very intimidating. I was like, what is happening right now? And then Mullen followed suit. And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
We're making eye contact. We were doing all the things.
You have your very strong hands.
Yes.
Like as I have noted before.
No one has ever told me I have strong hands until you. Usually I get made fun of because I have like skeleton fingers.
We dapped up that one time and I just can't get it out of my mind.
Broke your fist. Yeah. So strong. That said, excited to continue those conversations, but we do have our top 25 reveal that we have been doing throughout the course of the week and will continue into next week as well. So far, we're at 25 through 20 over the last couple days. So our number 25 team in college football this year, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Number 24, Kansas State. 23, the USC Trojans. 22, Boise State. 21, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And 20, the Baylor Bears. Today, we will reveal, wow, I don't know why that was so hard to say. Number 19 and 18. Number 19 in the Follow the Money Moves college football rankings, the Arizona State. What? Why are you smile? You always smile in this funny way that
I'm
makes
smiling. I'm
the
watching.
Arizona State Sun Devils, ladies and gentlemen, coming off of their CFP appearance last year. Yes, they are missing the very talented and important to their offense, quite frankly, Cam Scatterbo. But they do have Sam Levitt back. They've got a lot of running backs that they do believe in to take over that spot. Mm-hmm. Let's get to it.
Yeah, I think I think I understand why people would assume it is unfair to just say, hey, this team's going to take a step back. But I look at a couple of key factors. The one big and easy one, Stormy, is you can't continue to pull off the record you had in the one-score games. I believe there were 7-1 in one-score games last year. That, when you're always kind of pulling off those coin flip spots, generally that is a sign that the next year you're going to come back down to earth to a certain extent. You just can't continue to win those kind of games. Now, maybe you can again over the course of a second year. That's probably going to fall off here. The other one is, I think for a running back in college football, running backs do have more value, especially a guy like Scatterbo. That is a dude who they leaned on heavily when you're talking about out of the backfield, just handing it off, doing all of the things he did in that game in the playoff. There's so many things in which you're looking at and going, are they going to be able to realistically make up for that? You know, we talked about this actually a little bit with Spencer Danielson, which was, hey, how do you make up for the loss of Ashton Genty? It's a similar thing here. How do you make up for the loss of Cam Scatterbo? And I think that's a fair question to ask, combined with the other signs of regression that are here with this team. And yet still, by the way, we should note, as you mentioned, in our top 20.
Yes, they are in our top 20. They are among the favorites to win the Big 12 this year. Win total set at 8.5. Those Big 12 odds plus 550. It's like them, Kansas State, Texas Tech, Utah, all very much so in that upper echelon of the league. Something I did want to just point out, though, last year, this is a team that greatly exceeded expectations, not only in the close one-score games, but I mean, the Big 12 literally did not do a preseason media poll for a predicted order of finish this year because they were worried about it doing a disservice because they were selected so wrong. They went from a 3-win team back-to-back years to winning 11 games and being in the college football playoff last year. They were a 100-to-1 shot to win the Big 12. They were dead last in the poll. And one of the big talking points going into last season was the addition of Sam Levitt, the Michigan State transfer, and what would he be? And he lived up to all of those expectations. I think he was great. He is going to get Jordan Tyson back, his stud wide receiver who I mean, they needed to rely on Cam Scatterbo that much more in the playoff because Jordan Tyson wasn't available. And they also brought in some good transfer talent into that room. Jalen Moss from Fresno State, Noble Johnson from Clemson, Jaron Hamilton from Alabama. A lot of that core defense is back too. So if you believe what you saw last year, then yeah, absolutely. You should believe that this is going to be a good team again, that they win 8-9 games, contend for a title. But this is also a Big 12 conference that, as we have discussed a lot this week, has a lot of potential for parity and could potentially eat itself alive a little bit.
Yeah, and I think they still deserve this spot. I think you are too.
You
Sam
have
Levitt.
to put them there until they prove you otherwise on the field.
Correct. And though it's not like they're devoid of talent. They're bringing a bunch of other guys back. Obviously, Levitt's going to be at the top of the list because he's the most important position. I think the thing you love about Levitt is the fact that he does not put the ball in danger at all. Yep. According to Pro Football Focus, 421 dropbacks last year for Levitt. He committed 5 turnover-worthy plays. So one of the 6 interceptions he threw, not his fault. Like, the guy's just great. And if that's going to continue, he's always going to give his team a chance to be ahead of the sticks and do something right. So if he's going to improve after completing 61% of his passes and having that touchdown to interception ratio, there's obviously room for upper mobility here, and they deserve to be ranked. But if you just look at some of the signs of regression, how the team has improved, or how the conference has improved, I think there's a reality where look, in the Big 12 too, Stormy, I think 8-4 still might get you into the Big 12 championship game, depending on what you do in conference play.
I agree. Mixed bag schedule for them, by the way. They do have some tough conference road games, as you can see there, if you want to put the schedule back up. At Baylor on September 20th, at Rice-Eccles Stadium facing Utah October 11th, at Iowa State. They do face Texas Tech as well, but they get that game at home. Credit for facing an SEC school. Better win that because it is against Mississippi State, but still, like, never an easy place to go on the road in the SEC. Let's hit on our number 18 team now as we move this forward. And we're going to head to the SEC with SMU, win total 8.5, ACC odds plus 850, make or miss the playoff, which of course they made it last year, lost to Penn State plus 370. First year in the ACC was a blast to follow. Only one regular season loss. It was against BYU that at the time looked bad because of preseason projections. Little did we know what a surprise team BYU would be as well. Then they go on to lose a crazy game to Clemson for the ACC title. That came down to a field goal and ended the season with the CFP loss against Penn State. I am a big fan of Rhett Lashley as a coach. Kevin Jennings is back at quarterback, which is still crazy that he was not the day one starter last week when you think about it all. But what are your thoughts on this team? Because I like SMU again this year, but I can't pick you to win the conference when I think Clemson might be the best team in the country. Yeah,
look, to me, it was just the return of Jennings is where, and so when we did our original rankings, I actually think in retrospect, I was a little too high on this team overall because I just was very impressed with this coaching job and how well they did hitting the ground running in the ACC. And they're a team that in a program that has money and they've invested it into this program. So like they have a lot of talent along the defensive line, up front in the front seven. But the fact
I just got the picture.
Oh, don't you see? Exactly. I got it too, and I was going to be a pro and just keep it there. I am totally right, and I know I'm right. But I think the return to Jennings,
we'll throw this up in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll send it to Ortega so we can get it up. Jennings is great, though. I mean, you look at everything he did for this team, over the 3,200 yards. Again, himself doing well with the football, the 23 touchdowns that he threw as well. When you have a quarterback like this, you're going to have a chance to be pretty effective. Obviously, adding 400 yards rushing on the ground, too. I think, to me, that's where ultimately – you did it last year. You have a returning quarterback. You're a well-coached team, and I think and invested in the right areas with your NIL and the way you've brought in players and talent and the portal. I think this is still a deserving ranked team in the ACC. But I think you had it right. You know, I had them upwards. I think I had them like 13. I think that's a little high. And I think putting them down here in this area on par with some of the best Big 12 teams is a little bit more fair.
I wanted to ask you about the way that Kevin Jennings ended the season, because it is hard to get those turnovers out of your mind a little bit when you did face that high caliber competition. 5 combined turnovers against Clemson and Penn State. That wasn't a norm for him, but I think that's a very important piece that when you did face this high level competition, this was how you performed.
Yeah. Well, and that was was it the first drive where they were going for it on 4th down? And instead of trying to take the 4th down, he just went for the marker and he threw it downfield. And like there was just a weird, odd mistake there. I think this team's got a little bit better in them. It's going to be interesting to see if they are going to, because here's the other part about what SMU faces this year. is that Clemson looks awesome.
Yeah.
And so getting out of the ACC, becoming a playoff team, I think it's realistic. Maybe you can ask them to go over this win total, but it's going to sound pretty similar for a lot of these teams in that I think this team is pretty accurately priced when you look at where they're at. I think it's more than likely they miss out of the playoffs. I don't think they break through. I think it maybe be the second best team in the ACC, but I don't think they're going to upend Clemson outside of some injuries. And I think right around 8 to potentially 9 wins is the marker, and having that at a near pick seems about fair with the pricing.
So third shot on the board behind Clemson, who we already mentioned, in Miami, who has a lot of hype again coming into 2025. The schedule certainly seems a little bit trickier this time around as well. Non-conference battles with Baylor at home, TCU away. SMU faces all 3 of the other title contenders as well. Miami and Louisville both at home, Clemson in Death Valley. So you have a couple spots where you feel really good about SMU, and then a couple of those coin flips that are really going to determine what this team is.
Yep. I can't wait to watch them, but this is going to be interesting. And even teams like, we're going to get to them, November 1st versus Miami. Again, we can evaluate these teams now, but what that looks like in the back half of that schedule is pretty opportunistic with BC, Louisville, and Cal. Cal's
You're down on Louisville? Cal's going to be big bad.
Like BCU, and then you get Louisville at home is what I mean, and then going out to Cal. Like, if you can pull that off against Miami, the back end of that schedule, like, you could probably rattle off some wins as you head into the postseason. Before
Rhett Lashley's arrival at SMU, they had 2 11-win seasons. One was in 1982, the other in 1935. They have had back-to-back 11-win seasons. Would like to put it together again. Their win total, however, sitting at 8.5. You are getting minus 105 to the over, though, if you think that they can win a couple of those toss-up games. We got to take a timeout. Continuing the college football conversation next, though, Bronco Mendenhall, head coach of the Utah State Aggies, is going to join us in studio as Mountain West Conference Media Days rolls on from right here at Circa Resort and Casino.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
As Mountain West Media Days rolls on from Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, we welcome you back to Follow the Money. Stormy Buonantony and Jonathan Von Tobel with you, and very excited as we are officially the final media stop for Bronco Mendenhall, who joins us here on the desk, head coach of the Utah State Aggies, staying in the conference after what was, I think, I have used the word masterful, quite frankly, to talk about what you did last year at New Mexico over at Utah State now. Welcome in. How are you?
So great to be here. Thanks. And yes, you are the last stop, but not...
You're almost free.
Not the least stop.
Best for last. That's what we've been
Just don't mail it in. We know you have freedom on the horizon.
Last one, best one. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start. As Stormy mentioned, you were in New Mexico last year. Now you have a new stop here with Utah State. Why the change? Why did you want the job?
It's a really good question. I didn't go looking for the job. I was happy in re-entering college football to be at UNM, and I love transitions. I love challenge. I love building organizations. When Utah State approached with the chance to come back to my home state, my mom, 94 now, all 3 of my boys at Brigham Young University at that time, 2 have transferred to Utah State. The 3rd is living with us now in Logan. All 3 of my brothers there. Never imagined I would be able to coach college football surrounded by my immediate family, and that is the reason. I would love to say it would have been Utah State first, and it was simply the chance to do my job with my family so close. And now I get a cool program and an amazing place with a great history. Also, it's great.
Yeah, it's great that you get to do both. And Logan, Utah, by the way, for anyone who's never been, is freaking beautiful.
Yes.
It is a wonderful place.
Understatement.
You mentioned, though, that you love building a team. You talked about BYU. You obviously did it quickly there. Virginia, New Mexico, what we saw last year. What do you credit that ability to, that you have been able to have that success quickly places?
So there's really cool research regarding something called the Pygmalion effect, which is labeling. It's about that. And some great studies done, over a dozen studies, and labeling is also tied to expectations. And what the research is really clear on is the higher expectations you have when they're well communicated and claimed, people rise to those expectations. And so just a simple example, since the time I've arrived at Utah State, our first semester was the highest grade point average in school's history for football. That happened, by the way, in both semesters as at UNM, not because of smarter players. It was, and not because of a different academic structure. It was just simply because of they're expected to, and that really shares with them they're capable of. That's the message. And the same goes for the field. And so our program's demanding because they're capable and more capable than they've ever been. I'm talking about our players. And so if there was a premise as to the possible success, if my career has been viewed as successful, it's simply by elevated expectations.
So you're retooling this roster. Obviously, you're coming in now for the first time. Is there a position group that you've seen on paper that you're like, man, I can't wait to start camp and see these guys out there?
Sure. Our deepest position, and it really wasn't intentioned, but we probably have 6 running backs that, and you can't play 6, or you can,
technically,
or you can. But the role that they're going to play in the variety of usages, it'll be really fun to see and explore. Kevin McGivern, our offensive coordinator, is super innovative, creative, as was Jason Beck, who was my coordinator at New Mexico, is now at Utah. His ability to use and maximize personnel, that one position group, where that ends up and how that ends up being used, it'll be really fun to see.
Well, I want to talk to you, too, about the guy who's going to be handing that ball off, and Bryson Barnes, who I first was introduced to, and I think a lot of the country was, at Utah, and he was this pig farmer, and the great story about his grit and determination and all of that. It's a great story, but I know in talking to him, he wants to be more than a great story. He wants to be a great quarterback. What have you seen from him so far?
I think you put that really well. It is a great story, and he has a great story, and he's demonstrated he's capable at the highest level of college football to win. But that was kind of win conditionally if surrounded by, and if things go right, not his grit or determination. He's the perfect quarterback for me in leading this program and that alignment. What I've seen from him is just a fierce work ethic and passion for deliberately crafting his game to complement his internal makeup. And so the internal makeup is unquestioned. Now the skill set and the development of those specificity that goes around that then becomes really where his intentionality is. And every repetition is so deliberate, even if we're not using the ball, of looking off the safety and delivering the ball here and the follow through. And then the way he's performing or the way he's preparing is going to lead to a really, really strong performance. But that's who he is.
How does this defense look? You're known for a pretty unique style. So how's that going to look now that you're retooling this whole group?
Yeah, I really like what I've seen so far. We've added lots of players, as I've shared many times here in Media Days, 87 new players since I've arrived in December, which is a complete transition.
Do you know all their names by now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm terrible with names.
No, it's tough, though, in this day and age.
I like our depth. I like our ability. I like the chemistry. And now maximizing, deciding where they all fit and how they're going to be utilized. That's where our program is now, is the roll call, basically, the role delineations through fall camp to make sure we have the right 11 on the field at any given time in any given situation and asking them to do what they can do. That's the next part of our program.
I'm sure you've been peppered enough about this, but the year one schedule probably not doing you any favors either. You got a pair of SEC road trips, including going to Kyle Field in week 2. You got the defending Mountain West champ and runner-up both on the schedule. When you first looked at it, I know the adage is like 1-0 each week, 1 week at a time. But when you looked at that at first, what were your thoughts?
Opportunity. And so the Mountain West Conference, regardless of past records, I just see parity. And so consistency lends itself to Boise, and you have to start there. And that's been consistent year in and year out for a long period of time. And the quality of program, every other program, I think, is almost the same. And on any given year, on any given Saturday, on any given point of the year, it's very similar. And so, yes, there's SEC teams on the road. I've seen SEC teams before, and this idea that that's not capable or they're not beatable, and I reject that entire philosophy. There's a widening gap financially. They're still the same age, and they're still the same kids, and they're still, student athletes. So I see opportunity, and again, back to the expectations and the labeling. I think we're capable of anything, and I'm realistic, but I'm also demanding.
Mm-hmm. Have you gotten a taste of what that support is like out there from like a fan standpoint? Because like I'm a Mountain West guy, so she's a Mountain West person too. Like we practically watch it. Some of those home environments, basketball, football, it gets kind of crazy out there.
So I've experienced it firsthand as the coach at BYU and at New Mexico, and those names have left a scar on me. Yeah. I mean, and now to be on the other side, the herd itself is unlike anything I've ever seen. Our student section, the fans in Cache Valley, they are passionate about Aggie athletics. They're strong, resilient, tough-minded people, and you have to have settled or been in that area for a long time. Those winters are cold, but it's an amazing setting. They expect a lot, and they make it hard on the opponent. So I'm anxious to be on the home side.
The right side.
No, it's a great setting. And to your point, though, even in this next foray, I know we're here celebrating the Mountain West this week, but obviously that next stage of where you're going into the conference next year, you're going to be around a lot of those, but some change as well.
Yeah, and huge opportunity. We are part of college athletics, and part of college athletics is business. And usually most transitions from conference to conference are driven by revenue opportunity. Usually have to earn that by the quality of program that you have or are a part of, and then they elevate and like becomes like, and they put those together. And so really the strongest football schools over time in the Mountain West have basically come together now and will be in the Pac-12, which is a great compliment. It's still a year away. Mm-hmm. I'm acknowledging it now just because we're talking about it. But I think it's going to be a great step for Utah State.
All right, before we let him go, we have to do it.
I know, you've been holding this in. You've been holding this in. I'm proud of you.
Just to fill you in for our audience, I do kind of cover our Mountain West here, and I work local, so I've been bidding on this. And last year, one of the things I was preaching was, you guys got to watch out for this Devin Dampier guy. Yep. Looks like he's going to be pretty good. Got a little bit of action. You coached him, so what is Utah getting? You tell these people, I'm not crazy. This guy's going to be great. Big 12 newcomer of the year. Yeah,
he will. I think he might not only be the newcomer, he might be player of the year. He's exceptional and in every way. And I've seen a lot of really good quarterbacks. Coach Bryce Perkins at Virginia, Taysom Hill at BYU. The quarterback makes the difference. Devin Dampier, exceptional.
Is there like a carryover trait among those guys that you see in really good quarterbacks?
Yeah. Their self-belief certainly is part of it, but their ability to create and extend plays. There was a time in our Orange Bowl team with our Orange Bowl team at Virginia where our best third down call, third and medium, through the entire year was Bryce Perkins dropping back to throw. He was just the MVP in the UFL after playing with the Rams. Him dropping back to throw, protection breaking down, the play being completely non-effective, and him just running for a first down. Yep. So a broken play was our most effective. We spent all week long scripting, charting, executing. Our most effective play was a play that didn't work, that he made work on a consistent basis. Taysom could do the same. Devin can do the same. When you have a player that can erase the mistakes of anyone else in real time and keep the chains moving, he can do that.
Self-belief. Yes. I love that. That's awesome. Bronco, thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it. And now you're free. Bronco Mendenhall.
Liberated.
All done.
Utah State head coach, as Mountain West Media Days, of course, rolls on. We're going to step aside here, but keep it locked right here on Follow the Money. We're looking at the head coach of the year market in the NFL coming up after this.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We have the photo as we welcome you back to Follow the Money. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, Channel 158, YouTube TV, the VSiN Watch app, wherever you're watching or listening. We appreciate it, and we really hope that you're watching so that you can see the uncomfortability on my boy, Jonathan Von Tobel's face for this photo. Let's just throw it up there. Okay, so this is me, JVT. And that's your Twitter handle, coincidentally. Me, myself, JVT, and Dan Mullen. And yeah, you're like Ricky Bobby. You don't know what to do with your hands.
It's just the arms. Like you guys squished me immediately, and I didn't know what to do. Like because you guys were squeezing me so hard already, it would have been me physically pushing you away to put my arms around you. And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Have you never been in the middle of a 3-person photo? That is what you're supposed to do. You put your arms back like this, and you put it on your back.
Right, no, but what I'm saying is the pressure that you two were applying to me already,
please.
I couldn't, I was literally going to be like, all right, let me put my arms around you like first. And I'm not going to do that.
You just had it. Why couldn't you just take a step back? That's all you needed to do.
I don't think you understand how aggressively.
This is the result.
I don't think that you understand how aggressive. Yeah, I don't think you understand how aggressively you both advanced upon me, and I don't think you understand also the pressure you were both applying to me. If people cannot see your guys' hands, you guys were squeezing me, and I don't know. Like,
You're insane.
I'm not, dude. I'm telling you, look at my face. I'm shocked. I don't even know what to do. Even Mark Wallington, the SID for UNLV, gave me a look like, that's what we're going with. And I was like, yes, that's what we're going with.
He gave you a look that said, that's what we're going with.
Yep.
No, he did not.
This is ridiculous.
I honestly think you look more uncomfortable. It's just your face. Can you just throw it up there one more time? It's just your face. Like, it's not did you raise your shoulders up even too?
Dude, I'm telling you guys, you don't understand the predicament that I was in. I was just like, I guess this is what we're doing. Look at my hands. I
am frail. I have no muscles. There is no way I was applying that much pressure to you that you couldn't move your hands.
You were. You guys
are
were
wilding right now.
You think I would have known Dan for like 6 years the way he was squeezing me.
Oh, goodness. Nish Gandhi said,
I can call him Dan now, by the way.
Our guy Nish. Okay. He said, JVT, let's recreate that picture with Matt Humans at Stadium Swim in a pool when he's back in town in October.
I don't think Matt would allow that much physical contact with another man.
Applying the pressure.
Yeah.
We are very fortunate, though, to have had so many head coaches on set with us today as Mountain West Conference Media Days roll on. Obviously, UNLV first-year head coach Dan Mullen. We had Bronco Mendenhall on just a few moments ago. Earlier in the program, Boise State head coach Spencer Danielson. If you missed any of the program, you want to catch up on those interviews, remember, Follow the Money is always available in podcast form wherever you get your podcasts, as well as in its own feed, the VSiN Best Bets podcast feed. So all of it available there. We're going to keep the head coach theme rolling here, but instead shifting gears to the NFL, talking about coach of the year market. There are a handful of teams, right, that we expect there to be improvement for. We've talked earlier in the show about the Patriots as one of them, the Jags, the Bears with Ben Johnson coming in. The San Francisco 49ers went from a 6-win team. We thought that was a little bit weird that Kyle Shanahan was such a long shot in this market. But where I want to start this just conversation in general is that you'll notice as we talk historically about some of the people that have won this award in the past, this is not an award for the year after year best coaches in the NFL, right? Like, it's not Andy Reid getting multiple coach of the year bids or what have you.
It's like the NBA MVP, right? Like if it was really the most valuable player, LeBron would have won like 10 of them, right?
This is like improvement type of things, unbelievable seasons. You reach certain thresholds if you went from 5 wins to 10 wins, things like that. That's usually what garners this honor. And like it's very narrative driven as well.
Yeah. This is why I do think, so we've brought up Kyle Shanahan to win this award. I do think that he would get some credit for the turnaround here. I mean, I feel like he would, right? Like, Shanahan's in like this weird void of not being respected, but also being the reason why this team is like as good as they are. You know what I mean? And then for some reason, every once in a while, people just go 28-3, and then you know what I mean, going back to the Super Bowl. And I still think that he's one of the better candidates to pull this off when you're talking about in the range of 30-1, because they do have an easy schedule. They don't generally slip up where they shouldn't, and they look like a team that should be able to pile up wins. Again, from a power rating standpoint, I don't know if that necessarily equates to a team that is on par with Philly and Baltimore and Buffalo, but I think it's a team that could win a lot of games. And if they turn that around, if a guy like Brock Purdy statistically bounces back from where he was last year, I mean, there's a lot of case to be made that Shanahan is a really strong candidate for this award. But to your overall point, win total is 10.5. They're one of the top shots in the division. Will the media look at that and go, cool, coach of the year, or will they just say, that's what we expected?
Yeah, they're supposed to be good.
Yes.
That, and so it is one of those interesting things. And at least a handful of books I have seen he be bet down a little bit from the 30-1 to the 20-1 range. So there is at least some belief maybe at that number that it's a worthwhile wager. I think it is. I think that if this goes on to be a team that does go over that season win total and gets back to form and is an NFC contender, then absolutely he should be on par with it, because yes, they went through a lot of injuries last year, but this offseason, they had a mass exodus of a lot of very talented players as well. Yes, they've got a very talented core that is still there, which is why I believe in their season win total, which is why I like this number for Kyle Shanahan. But they did have to go through a lot of change and peril in order to have that successful projected season as well. I did want to ask you about, because another team that we are kind of high on that has a lower win total is the Dallas Cowboys.
That's why I started laughing.
Oh, do you knew where I was going instantly? So that's what I was going to say. Do you think Brian Schottenheimer would get any credit for the Cowboys improvement?
I mean, he would have to, right?
30-1 again. It's another one of those numbers.
Like, I'm laughing because longtime assistant. What did Jerry call it? Like, nobody would have done this except for me. Like,
he called it a long shot, really like breaking the mold.
I feel like, if they win 10 games, which again, I think you and I, like, it's on like the farther end of the bell curve, but I think it's possible that this team wins like 10 games next year and makes it to the playoffs. Like, I think it's possible. And so who else would get the share unless it's just like, hey, Dak's really good. And of course this is going to happen. So Brian Schottenheimer, you're not going to get the credit for it. I laugh because I just don't know. Like, are we too close to the sun talking to other media members and sports bettors who just don't really respect the Cowboys, don't really respect Schottenheimer? And I would think that maybe that's the case. Or will the people who vote for this award actually look at this and go, oh, like he took over a team whose head coach got fired because they did not perform very well. And now with mild expectations, took them to 10 wins and revitalized Dak Prescott. Feel like you should get some credit for that?
I think so too, but
I mean,
and at 30-1,
right? I
like looking at like long shots for this type of an award.
I mean, generally because it's kind of hard.
Mid-range.
Like, for example, to what you're talking about. Again, expectations. The expectation is that the Patriots are going to be good. If we talk about this from the favorite standpoint, right?
Vrabel 6-1.
If Vrabel wins 9 games, is he really going to be considered the coach of the year? Where I think that's most people's expectations. Like, that's where they're going to land. I think the more viable candidate among the retread coaches is like a guy like Pete Carroll, if that offense really starts to turn things around. But even then, I can kind of put a fly in the ointment and be like, well, are people just going to look at that and go, yeah, well, Chip Kelly's there. And that's the reason why they got it. So I think there's 2 names that do stick out outside of the ones that we have discussed, like, legitimately. The first is one that was brought up to us yesterday. This one I know was brought up as well when we were talking to Schwab, which is Liam Cohen at about 15-1. I think that the Jags can win that division. I have bet them to do so. And so I think that if I'm right and they win that division, if Trevor Lawrence comes back and he's great, and this offense is one of the top 10 units in the NFL, and they take the division from one of the favored sons, CJ Stroud, I think that has the makings of a team that could – or excuse me, a head coach that could win the award of most, or excuse me, of coach of the year. And you're getting, we're talking about what, 14, 15-1, depending on where you look.
To your point, yes, if this is a team that you expect can get back to the mountaintop in the division, you are a head coach in Liam Cohen who has specifically been brought in to, I think it's fair to say, use the word fix your quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. And if you do get the most out of him, which is why you were hired, and you do get the most out of some of these other talented guys, Brian Thomas, you draft Travis Hunter and you get the most out of him, then yes, I like that. And at that price, I think it's worthwhile as well. First-year head coaches have won 4 of the last 8 head coach of the year honors. The last 2, however, have not been first-year guys, so maybe they're due.
All right, you want the other one?
Do it.
Narratively, this is a grand slam. Narratively, if this plays out, this dude is going to win this award, no problem whatsoever.
Dave Canales.
But the problem is, but the problem is that it's somewhat unlikely. If Shane Steichen leads the Colts to the playoffs, if he revitalizes the career of either Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson, or God forbid, as we pointed out yesterday, they make the playoffs with both of them being ass the entire season, Shane Steichen, former UNLV quarterback Shane Steichen, is now all of a sudden you're looking at this and going, dude, he had Gardner Minshew 1 drop pass away from the postseason 2 years ago. He had this team in postseason contention last year, and now they're a 9-win team in the playoffs with 2 guys who are just thrown on a trash heap and most people didn't believe in. Again, you have to get there. But Stormy, this dude has had this team within a shot of the playoffs each of the last 2 years, and if they make it again, that is a coach of the year resume.
You know what I heard there, though? A whole lot more ifs than we heard about some other teams.
That's literally every single one of these guys.
And that's what betting is. Yeah. That's what betting is. But I can't get there.
I'd rather have Shane Steichen than Dave Canales.
I just can't get there.
Bryce
what?
Young.
I thought you believed. I thought you were a Bryce Young truther.
The picture, your slander of the Colts.
Get more full Coach of the Year breakdowns in our NFL betting guide, which is out and available now, vsin.com/subscribe. Early bird pricing, though, that $175 special ends July 31st. So now is the time to dive in. Plus, this year, in addition to all the betting insights, we've included fantasy football breakdowns for the first time with the guide. Again, vsin.com/subscribe. Pocket plays coming up after this.
The guy has an algorithm to determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I'll bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're on.
All right, we are wrapping up this Thursday edition of Follow the Money with In Pocket Plays. JVT, Stormy Buonantony with you. 2-0 start to the week. All we have pending right now is my top 20 parlay we put in yesterday. John Rahm and Xander Schauffele plus 215. Not graded yet. Obviously, we've got a long weekend ahead, but something that you brought up earlier, you can't win on day one, but you can lose it, and neither one of my guys lost it. So John Rahm, 1 under so far for the tournament. Xander Schauffele, even par. Both had a couple of bogeys on the back 9, but I think they're going to get back to it tomorrow. So we're still holding out hope for my guys.
Yes, sir. All right. No in-pocket plays for you for tonight because really there's nothing going on.
Yeah, and I don't bet Summer League like you do, so I don't have anything.
Well, speaking
tonight.
of,
sorry.
Hawks up by 1 at the end of 1. Would very much like a win. All right. For me, just again, sitting on some of these plays with Sepp Straka and our guy Bobby Mack to win this thing outright, as well as Tommy Fleetwood plus 210. Straka is 1 over, and Bobby Mack was actually looking pretty good for a while, ended up falling back to the pack. He is even after round 1, and he tees off at a paltry 1:47 a.m. Pacific time, so that's going to be a good watch.
Scotty Scheffler plus 210. Sorry, I'm looking for a piece of paper. Say that. Why don't you say that again?
Said he tees off at a very paltry 1:47 a.m. Pacific time,
okay.
And I can't wait to watch.
So for a little inside baseball here, Brian Ortega, our lovely producer, said that he thinks that the Open Championship is the most boring of the major championships. I said, and I'm not going to agree nor disagree, I just said, we don't get to watch as much of it. And then you ridiculed me, just wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. I don't want to wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning.
The last golfers tee off at like 7:30 in the morning. If you wake up at 5, you get to watch a good chunk of the round.
This is the 1 week where I am not on the air until 1 o'clock in the afternoon and don't have to wake up early. I'm not going to wake up extra
We're going into the
early.
weekend. We're going into the weekend. We're done.
So I'm going to wake up at that time on my days off?
Yeah.
You're losing it, man. Can't do it.
I mean, I figured
you cannot be serious.
I figured this was your job.
Okay.
I figured this was your job and you would be willing to do it.
Caramba.
Took last weekend
Golf
off. Now we're
isn't
taking
my
this
job.
weekend off. I don't know.
I made a couple bets because I like to bet, but it's that golf isn't my job.
It's not that bad, man. Just wake up.
Those are my pizzeria plays, or that's how I play it.
Mocking.
No.
Mocking these guys.
Oh my gosh, I would never. I think
if you love Follow the Money and she's mocking you.
I requested that we get to do that segment this week, but I was not listened to. So what are you going to do? Maybe we're going to have that tomorrow. I would love to do it. Scotty Scheffler, anyways. Plus 210 is your favorite. Close plus 450. He was 3 under for the day. 1 shot out of what is a 5-way tie for the lead in the Open Championship. So we'll be spending this out all weekend. You going to add anything?
No, but I will say really quickly, we brought this up yesterday. The point to Scotty, putted relatively well near the top of the field in the first round for strokes gained putting. So we'll see if we can keep that up because that was one of the big deals that was brought up when he crosses the pond in Europe. The putter struggles because that stimp meter runs a little slow and he's not used to it. Looked used to it today.
Okay, In Pocket Plays presented by the G-Bank First Bet and VSiN Trifecta. All you need to do to get in on the $500 trifecta, open up a G-Bank Visa signature card your first 90 days, deposit and play through $1,000 at First Bet. That's going to trigger the $500 trifecta. You get $200 in cashback rewards on your G-Bank Visa signature card. First Bet will give you a $100 deposit match. VSiN completes the trifecta with a free 6-month VSiN Pro subscription. So that's the $500 trifecta. VSiN.com/GBank is how you can get more information. This is a one-time promotion limited to customers opening a new account in response to the offer. Will not apply to requests to convert existing accounts. Apply today. Terms and conditions do apply. Again, VSiN.com/GBank. Okay, we had a lot of interesting news that dropped throughout the course of the show today. One of which we shortchanged a little bit.
The Coldplay couple?
we bled that dry. 2 news items. TJ Watt won, becoming the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history today. Just goes slightly over what Myles Garrett was being paid. So good news for him and the Steelers to finally have this out of the way with training camp looming in about a week. But also some kind of odd NBA news that came through today with Damian Lillard, despite obviously being unable to participate in the NBA season coming up next year, signing back with the Portland Trailblazers. And we got about 90 seconds of your reaction earlier, so I would love for you to vet that out a little bit more. So
it's 3 years, $42 million, player option for 27-28, has a no trade clause. He's going to be there until 2028. I just don't understand it from the perspective. There's 2 perspectives I don't understand this from. The first of which is for Portland, I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it. You went and got Drew Holiday. You've now signed Damian Lillard, and he's not going to play for you this year. It's already been reported he's taking the year off. So it's like you're not making this push. Not going to come back. You're just like stacking veteran guards in front of Scoot Henderson, who you drafted 3rd overall. So maybe you don't believe in him, but then you're admitting that, hey, we screwed up with the 3rd overall pick, which isn't particularly great. From Damian Lillard's perspective, again, this is purely narrative, and I don't want to present this in an unfair light, Stormy, but it is curious that a guy who has not had a ring or really had a realistic opportunity at winning a championship. The 1 year he made it to the Western Conference Finals, they got swept. He had separated his rib, and that was against the Golden State Warriors. I mean, you don't want to go anywhere else and try to get something? Try to help a team compete for a championship? I mean, the teams that were thrown out there, right? The Golden State Warriors, New York Knicks, all these teams were kind of on the verge of potentially winning something. And instead, you're like, no, take the money and go back to Portland and whatever. And that is a curious decision in and of itself. But look, man, if he wants to go home, he likes Portland. He's there his entire career. I'm never one to kill a guy for that. I just find that part of it curious. I'm just more like, I just don't understand what the pattern is here for Portland at all.
And you mentioned the narrative side of it, which is obviously key. If you look at social media today, Portland fans are losing their mind happy that they're getting him back, even though he's not going to be on the court this year.
Guess what? This is so crazy. With the wave and stretch from Milwaukee and his deal here, $70 million for Damian Lillard this year.
Jeez.
He's getting paid by 2 teams.
Jeez, what a life.
Over the course of this deal, $141 million.
Lord help us.
Man,
okay,
what would you do with
your
that?
Favorite next year? I think about that all the time. Honestly, when I hear this is a very common thought in mind. When I hear about these contracts for major athletes, or when I hear about like a franchise being bought for billions of dollars, I'm always like, to have that much money that you can spend that much money to do XYZ, like I can't even fathom that life.
It's a game check of $85,000. Just like, boom, here you go. It's like, man. Like, what do you do? I've always said that if I got it like that much money, I'd always do like simple house and then like nice things. No way, dude. I'd buy so much ridiculous stuff.
As Diego and Dimitri, your children, grow up, what sport would you really like to funnel them to for contract purposes?
So I have always said
you're going to be a show dad.
No. My thought has always been, and this was before we had a second child, so now it'll be the Tobel brothers, that I've wanted to teach them to be long snappers.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's lack of
physicality,
right? Because it's really like lack of physicality. So like they'll be healthy as they move along for the most part, right? Obviously, you have to play football at some point. And if you could be a good long snapper, making like that league minimum, which is pretty good money, and then you can have a long career, plus the narrative of Diego and Dimitri Von Tobel, the long snapping brothers, like, dude, it'd be great. Like something like that.
I think it's so funny you say that, because I have always said the best job to me. Some people say backup quarterback is the best job, and maybe because you get paid more, but you are still put into situations where you're going to be heavily ridiculed. Long snapper, nobody talks about you. You can be a specialist, obviously. The risk for injury is exceptionally low, and you're making a cool over $1 million a year. Like, that's a great situation for anyone.
That's the goal. Although he is starting baseball this year, so we'll see.
Wait, baseball contracts ain't too shabby.
No, not at all.
Get a nice 10-year.
I just if he becomes good, he just toil around in the minors.
You know where you
forever.
can move as a parent if he gets one of those really long, big deals. So yeah, minor league baseball, that is not for the faint of heart. That is a brutal life in minor league baseball. No shot. I had a cousin who did that. He got up to the Padres, got like 2 or 3 starts, and like that was it. Toiling around for a long time. You make no money. You're traveling in like the worst possible conditions.
He did play in Korea for a while, though.
That's kind of cool. That's a life experience you wouldn't otherwise get.
Now, here we go.
But I know that's not a...
You take pictures like this with your fans?
Throw that up one more time, just on the way out, because it's so good. This is, again, so thank you again to all of the coaches that we had on the program today. Dan Mullen, Spencer Danielson, head coach of Boise State, Bronco Mendenhall, Utah State. But here's Dan Mullen, new head coach at UNLV, making JVT as uncomfortable as humanly possible.
So you two,
we were just having a good time.
Don't step away from the blame.
We were trying to celebrate the moment. It was so nice having him here. He loves being a local Las Vegan now. Loves the city. Excited to be back with his good buddy, executive director of the Las Vegas Bowl, John Cicenti, building up a great program.
I hope that everybody has a really good weekend, even though we have one more day. But I will say that may your bets cash, and may you never be physically assaulted the way that I was in that photograph, and then have it shared with the world.
Hell of a finish. For JVT, our producer Brian Ortega, and our whole crew behind the glass, I'm Stormy Buonantony. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow on Follow the Money, same time, same place. But for now, stick around. VSiN Prime Time coming up after this.